The talk today is unlearn the myths, unlock the power of your money. So if you unlearn these myths, again, if what you thought to be true turned out not to be true, when would you want to know about it? But the bigger question is, what would you do about it? Right? If if everything that we've been taught about money as children, and you got to remember who taught us, our parents, our teachers, they didn't know unless your parents were super wealthy, unless you were part of the Rockefeller family or the Rothschild family or something like that. They didn't really know money. They don't really understand money. The average person doesn't. So, I thought the harder I worked, the more money I would make. I trusted the banks, right? I would say that person's my banker. I followed Wall Street. I did all of the things, the managed money stuff. I did other strategies. I remember this AMC movie theater strategy because guess what? Back then they would come out with summer blockbusters. What do you think would happen to their stock? It would go up. Then the sales wouldn't be what they thought it was going to be, or this would happen, or it'd slow down in the fall when everybody went back to school. And you could time that, right? All those strategies. I did all of that system, all of those things. But that system is built for them to win. And the harder you play their game, the more trapped you get. And what I mean by that is the more money you put in a 401k or something like that, you almost like, hey, I'm in it. I'm committed to this strategy. And you see somebody on the fringe and they're buying real estate and they are wearing t-shirts and, holes in their jeans. And you're like, how is that person so happy and relaxed and not have any stress? And like, I'm trying to figure out, am I going to have enough money when I retire? Am I not? And how am I going to live off of this? And what my rate of return is going to be? And what's my rate of return now? And what's my balance? Oh my gosh, my account went down 300 grand last night. Something like that, right? Or it went up 300 grand. Wow, like if I went up 300 grand every year or every day, you get this weird mentality. So I'm going to talk to you about, I promise you, I'm going to show you 3 myths, 3 traps, and 3 shifts because we're about ready to launch owner shift, right? The shifts that you got to make to be an owner of your life instead of a consumer or instead of a customer. So we're going to go 3 myths, 3 traps, and then 3 shifts you need to make. All right. So the number 1 myth, Wall Street equals wealth. It doesn't. That is not where you build wealth. There's this illusion of average returns, but volatility destroys compounding. And what I mean by that is, and I'm going to give you an example. You have $100,000. The first year you did amazing. You got 100% rate of return. So how much do you have now? $200,000. Now the next year, we're going to go 4 years. Okay. The next year you lose 50%. So how much do you have? 100,000. That third year, it goes back up 100%. Now you're back to $200,000. So it's you have $200,000. That fourth year, the final year, you lose 50%. You're back to 100,000. What's your average rate of return? You want to say 0 because your CAGR, your compound annual growth rate, is 0. By the way, I'm not throwing in any fees or anything, any expenses in that investment, but your average rate of return is 25%. You went up 100% twice, that's 200%, and you went down 50% twice, that's 100%. So you had 100%, you averaged 100% rate of return divided by 4, that's 25% average rate of return. What did you gain? Nothing. How do you win that game? How do you even know what's happening? You have to look at the CAGR. How many times have you heard, or how many times have you felt, hey, my 401k says I'm getting 9 or 10%, but I don't see any growth. Well, there's growth for somebody because they profit regardless. Fees and spreads are guaranteed. You take the risk. John Bogle said, who would invest in a system where you have no control? You put up all of the money and you get 30% of the profits. No one. If you understood what was happening, you'll know what to do. Okay, so the last one is retirement as a gamble. And I know that I say this all the time, but I live in Florida. I see people that vote at my club on whether they want improvements or not. And the people that are living, I say that in quotes, living off their retirement, they don't want to spend any money. They want to go to dinner at 4 o'clock. They want the blue light or the happy, what do they call that? The early bird special, right? Again, I'm not making fun of those people. I wish that they would have done it a different way. And then we have other people. One guy that in my neighborhood that has a ton of real estate, he doesn't care. Another guy has all these restaurants. He has like 30 restaurants. And these guys are in their 70s. They're spending money like, because they have it, they have cash flow. So that first myth is Wall Street does not equal wealth. Wall Street sells you on hope of this big return. Oh, I should have, look what NVIDIA did. I should have invested in NVIDIA. And now they're trying to get you to think Bitcoin is an investment. It's a currency. They said, well, are you going to sell your Bitcoin? Why would I sell something going up in value for dollars going down in value? Makes no sense. So they sell you hope, but they extract guaranteed profits from you. Now, let that sink in. All right. So the other myth that banks are your friend. You walk into the bank, oh, big smile. Mr. Oliver, come on in. Hey, call me Jim. Hey, Jim, come on in. What can we do for you today? You want to wire some money to somebody? There's a fee. You want to, you want this, that, there's a fee. Oh, your interest? Yeah, we're not really paying a lot of interest right now, but if you tie this money up in a CD, I can get you 4% or 5%. I don't even care what it is. Right? And so that trap is part of banks are not your friend. Fractional reserves, they multiply your deposits, not their capital. Think about that. They are allowed to loan your money out over and over and over again, 7 to 10 times. Okay. I'm not gonna, sometimes people say, well, it's not 10 times because it's this. Okay, 7 to 10 times. Would you like to loan the same dollar out 7 to 10 times? I would. Debt servitude. Your interest payments equal their profit. So you're a slave. They're trying to enslave you. Okay, then the other thing is, and I just dealt with this yesterday with one of my businesses, liquidity control. Lines of credit vanish when you need them the most. This one, I've said this on this one bank for a company that I own in Iowa, did an audit of the company at the worst possible time. It's an electronics business. Do it in January after we've had Christmas, or actually better off February after we've had Christmas and Super Bowl. Okay, because that's our season. So, remember JD Rockefeller said, own nothing, control everything. There's a reason why the Rockefellers use trusts. They don't own anything individually. They don't use banks, right? They are the bank. He says that over and over again in his writings. All right, so banks are not your friend. That's myth number 2. Okay? Or that the myth is they are your friend. The reality is they're not. The last myth is that high income, because we're all striving. I need to make more money. I need a raise. High income equals freedom. That's a myth. Okay? Because you have a couple different things. Tax drain. The more you earn, the more the IRS siphons from you. I mean, that's how the IRS code is written. The key is to get your income to zero and have tons of money, right? I mean, I've told this story a million times, but I was walking by the TV a few years ago, and I don't care if you love Trump or hate him, okay? But they said, Donald Trump's a terrible business person. He lost over $1 billion over a 10-year period. No, he didn't. They don't understand depreciation. Your bank's smart. Banks are loaning him money because he's losing money? No. Because he lied on it or tried to make the company look good? No, everybody does that. I mean, I'm just telling you, everybody does that. What they prosecuted him for, everybody does. Again, I don't care if you love him or hate him. But the tax drain is, it's not the more you earn, the more that you get to keep. No, it's the more the IRS gets to keep. And then you have lifestyle creep. Bigger paycheck, bigger expenses, right? That's Parkinson's law. Expenses rise to equal income. You got to have that Ferrari. Somebody's in the audience going, I want a Ferrari. And I want you to have it. I just don't want you to pay for it. I want somebody else to pay for it. Your tenants, your customers. I want them to fund your infinite banking system, right? If somebody else was funding your infinite banking system, how much would you put in there every year? I want to put 100 million through mine. If somebody else is paying for it, or because I'm not greedy. Anyway, okay. Then cash flow bigger than income, greater than income. Freedom comes from assets paying you, not working harder. So high income does not equal freedom. And Einstein said the hardest thing in the world to understand is income tax because it didn't really make sense. It was supposed to be a temporary tax in 1913. And we all talked about how the Federal Reserve was created and everything else. Meyer Rothschild said, I don't care who you elect president. Let me, as long as I get to control the money, that's all I care about. Glenn says Wall Street takes your money, creates cash flow in their accounts to pay you the leftover returns. And the banks too, right, Glenn? Same thing. Yeah, I mean, I've told Glenn's story. And if you haven't listened to Glenn's episode on a Breakaway Wealth, listen to it. He took his 401k and turned it into cash flow. I'll let you listen for the details. And he's not stopping. I know he's not stopping because he had a deal right after we recorded that he was closing. He's not going to stop. Why is he not going to stop? Well, one, he wants more and more and more depreciation, and he wants more and more and more cash flow without tax or very little tax. Okay. So that's the third myth. What are the traps? So these are the myths, and what the traps get us to where we get screwed. Okay. And there's three traps, like I said. The trap number one is the treadmill trap. And doesn't everybody hate cardio and treadmills? No, I'm just kidding. I mean, I know, listen to a book, listen to music. I just can't do it. I'm so bored. So the first part of the treadmill trap, I have 3 points for that. Work harder gets you ahead. I mean, that's not true. Effort rises, but wealth leaks away. Because again, all of those eroding factors. You have to have your assets work for you, not work for time, or not exchange time for money. Again, your life on this earth is measured in time. So when you're exchanging time for money, you're exchanging your life for money. And then the money that you're getting paid, the government is debasing. It's going down in value every single day. Does that seem like slavery? It is, right? And if you're in that, I'm not telling you to like change something. Well, I'm telling you to change something today, but like I'm not telling you to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I'm just saying, if you know what's happening, you'll know what to do. So taxes and interest erode gains. They erode all your gains and more. You're running in place while others collect. You see the person owning real estate, you see the person owning business, and you're like, how are they doing that? Ask them. They won't help you, somebody else will. Okay. Again, I'm going to use Glenn as an example. He found these people in Tampa that were doing what he wanted to do, and he did what they did, and he found his niche. It's work. I guarantee it's no more risk than putting your money with Wall Street and hoping that somebody is going to help you. Volatility adds risk. Market downturns wipe out years of progress, and then people panic. Seen it over and over and over again for 38 years. I mean, it's human nature. It's the fear greed cycle, right? Or the greed fear cycle. Something's going up. Janus 20 back in the day. I got to get some Janus 20. And then they buy it. What happens? It goes down in value. So they sell. They buy high, sell low. They're doing the exact opposite of what they would want to do. Glenn says to everybody, just in case you don't have the chat up, I made $200,000 last year and deducted $400,000 in depreciation, increasing my income. Boom. That's winning, right? That's how you win. And someday you're going to add a zero to that, right? Think about it. How did Donald Trump lose $1 billion over 10 years? Just what Glenn just said. On paper, Glenn apparently is a terrible business person too, because he's got more in depreciation than he did in money coming in, according to the IRS. Income, that's all they care about, right? Okay, so let's see, where was I? Market downturns. Okay, so most entrepreneurs are like on this hamster wheel, and they think more activity, more activity, more activity. The hamster wheel has to go faster and faster and faster, but the wheel's still in a cage. Okay, so we don't want to be self-employed. We want to be business owners. Okay, so here's one that drives me crazy. And I got paid a lot of money for this, okay? The outsourcing trap, handing over control of your money. You trust bankers and brokers more than you do yourself. Why? Because that's what they've told you. You're not smart enough to do this. Me, you, everybody. We're not capable of doing it. We have to give it to a Morgan Stanley person. We have to give it to so-and-so. We have to give it to so-and-so. If I give some money to those people, which I do a little bit, it's for very specific strategy. I'm not giving financial advice, but if Fannie Mae goes public or private, I'm sorry, if it goes private, what do you think is going to happen to that stock? Because it's making money, right? Okay. So will I give somebody some money and roll the dice? Yeah, it's not my lunch money. It is gambling. I don't go to Vegas, so I'm gambling that Trump's going to get that done. Is that gambling? It is gambling. Okay, misaligned incentives. They get paid on assets under management, not your freedom. And you think about it, you start off when you're 20 years old, you start putting money in some kind of government plan for 40 years. Now you can't touch it till you're 59 and a half without a penalty, right? The penalty is the penalty. Now you might not pay taxes if you're smart, like Glenn, but 99% of money, people that take money out of a 401k pay the tax and the penalty. I'm just telling you reality. Okay, so they have an incentive. They're not trying to make you free. They want you to be a slave. They're a large financial institution. What do they want? They want your money. How much of it do they want? All of it. How long do they want to keep it? Forever. How much do they want to give back to you? As little as you'll accept. You want to play in that game? You want to trust them? No. So then they create this dependency. So that's another part of that outsourcing trap. Your financial destiny is tied to someone else's decisions. Hey, I think we should sell that NVIDIA stock. It's really not doing very well right now. Okay, because you know more than me, right? And again, Glenn says, I was willing to pay the penalty and the taxes. $60,000 in cash in the hand is better than 100,000 stuck in money jail. Totally agree. Totally agree. And I've seen people do it, and they come out ahead in 3 to 5 years, while it would have just been sitting in prison. Okay, so Meyer Rothschild said he built his dynasty, and every time I say that name, I don't want to go down the conspiracy theory thing, okay? But dynasty, one way or conspiracy theory, no conspiracy theory, dynasty, okay? By controlling money flows in Europe, the 5 biggest cities in Europe, never outsourcing his family's future. Do you really want to outsource your family's future? I don't. Okay. Then it's the false finish line. That's trap number 3. Retirement mirage. Save until I'm 65, then hope it lasts. Hope is not a plan. Hope is not a strategy. The only hope is the hope from the Bible. Okay. Because you don't have to hope, it's a guaranteed. But hope with humans does not work. And what do they get you with is they have fear disguised as security. People trade freedom today for the illusion of stability tomorrow. Hey, once I retire, I'm not going to have to do anything. What do those people do? They start drinking too much, they get fat, and they die. They die because they're stressed that they're going to run out of money. I see it happen. Again, I live in heaven's waiting room. So, all right. So the last part of that is sequence of returns. You have all this money, saved it up for 40 years. You retire. First year, it's 2008, big downturn. You're screwed. You're done. You just killed off all your workers because now your money's your workers, right? Okay, so the Rockefellers never retired. They built a system that compounded for generations, still compounding. They don't get to take the money. They're beneficiaries of that trust, right? They can't destroy it. So, okay. And by the way, the concept of retirement is not in the Bible. Why is it not in the Bible? And the Germans created it. We don't need to go down that rabbit hole right now. Retirement means to be taken out of service. Do you want to be taken out of service even when you're 80 or 90 years old? I don't. I still want to be valuable, and I still want to be doing these meetings and helping people and writing books and showing people how to be free. So what are the 3 shifts? You're going to guess the first one. It's become the bank, right? Why? Uninterrupted compounding. Growth continues even when you borrow. So we've talked about how the penny doubling, and you've seen that example. If you haven't, take our What is IBC course and the missing pieces. Take those 2 courses. You'll learn more about this stuff than 99% of the people selling infinite banking out there are marketing it. Liquidity on demand. No bank approval needed. Glenn wants to go buy a mobile home park tomorrow, uses his policies to do that. If I want to go buy a business tomorrow and I want to buy this farm in Smithville, Tennessee, that's why I'm going to just keep on putting it out there, Nathan, till we buy it, is I'm going to use my infinite banking system, and I'm going to have her seller finance it, and I'm going to keep everybody in place. It's going to be a win-win. Okay, so no bank approval needed. System control. You write the rules. It's your game. You're not trying to play somebody else's game. It's your game. And the Rockefellers use whole life policies, and they did use the waterfall method, and as their family bank, and everybody just kept on generation one, generation two, generation three, generation four, just like an ocean when you're standing there, and it's like a wave comes in and a wave comes in, or the waterfall just keeps coming. The Rothschilds controlled nations with private banking power. Okay, so those are two pretty good. Remember, find somebody that has what you want and do what they did. Okay, play offense with taxes, entity structures, LLCs, corps, trusts. Keep the money flowing your way, right? So here's my, I'm going to give you 20 seconds on trust. Like everybody should have a trust, own all their assets. Why? Because a trust doesn't do anything, so it can't be sued. And if you don't own anything, you can't be sued. Or they can't get anything from you if you don't have anything, right? Pretty cool. Depreciation and write-offs, just what Glenn was talking about. Assets reduce taxable income while producing cash flow. It's not rocket science. You can do it. You don't need somebody else, a broker, blah, 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 to do it. Redirection, not deferral. Keep the money today. Redirect it into your wealth engine, i.e., your infinite banking system with cash flowing assets, businesses, etc. Right? That's going to be the next shift is we got to acquire them. What? Well, I don't know. Depends on you. So the Rothschilds pioneered generational trust, ensuring wealth wasn't eroded by taxes or governments. They used dynasties trust. The Rothschilds, the Rockefellers. There's certain states. I mean, when you go to in South Dakota, there are buildings that just have PO boxes. They're just trust parking spots. All right, so we acquire cash flowing assets, real estate, get cash flow, appreciation, tax benefits, depreciation, all in one package. That's why more billionaires, millionaires have been created with real estate than anywhere else. Businesses, you get to use other people's money and other people's time for leveraged expansion of your wealth. Boom. Okay, so stack and multiply. It's almost like stack and tilt if you're a golfer. Stack and multiply. Recycle cash flow into new assets via your own bank, your private bank. And they didn't, the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers, they didn't chase jobs. They owned railroads, mines, banks, the assets everyone else relied on. Everybody relies on Amazon. Is that a good thing to own? It's Bezos, and I think he'll agree. Okay, so, what are the steps? Unlearn the myths, unlock the strategies, use IBC, tax strategy, cash flowing assets, and unleash, unlearn, unlock, unleash, build wealth, freedom, and generational legacy. Everybody talks about JD Rockefeller. You want your great, great, great grandkids to talk about you? All they have to do is start getting a check when they borrow money from the bank that has your name on it. They'll remember who you are generationally. So stop competing by their rules. Build your own game, own the bank, own the assets, own your future, own your legacy. Do the things that are important to you. That's it for today. So hopefully that was helpful in those three things. Again, remember, people need to be reminded as much as they need to be educated. If you knew all of that or part of it, then I'm just helping remind you. If you have any questions, reach out to me. Thank you all for being here. Tell a friend about this meeting if you find it valuable, and thank you. Have a great day.